Yeah.
You mentioned a national political figure who's decided to get involved. It sounds like you're talking about Trump. And then you said, I need your help. How can he help?
Well, one thing he could do is express support for reversing the deregulation that happened on his watch. I heard him say he had nothing to do with it, even though it was in his administration. So if he had nothing to do with it and they did it in his administration against his will, maybe he could come out and say that he supports us moving in a different direction. We're not afraid to own our policies when it comes to raising the bar on regulation. And I've got to think that him indicating that this is something that everybody, no matter how much you disagree on politics and presidential campaigns, can get behind. Higher fines, tougher regulations on safety, Congress untying our hands on braking rules, all the other things that go with that. That'd be a nice thing for him to do.
So here's the problem with Secretary Poot's answer here. It's full of garbage and it's not accurate. Welcome back to the program. Dana Loesch here with you. Bottom of our first hour, actually. I talked about, was this last week that we talked about this? And we were explaining how it wasn't this what Trump did with the regulation regarding brakes has nothing to do with a broken axle, right? Because that's ultimately what happened. You had a broken axle that had nothing to do with the regulation that Trump that rolled back on his watch during his administration. I mean, if you're gonna go after him about something, then make it accurate. Otherwise, you're just gonna lose. You got one chance, man. If you're gonna go for the head, then you best not miss. It's kind of, sort of the way it is with this stuff. You can't just sit here and mess stuff up. He doesn't know what he's talking about, though. I mean, the damn thing's on video, people. I mean, there's a reason why the sparks in it, the axle was broken. They can tell the axle overheated and was broken. It reached a critical level, 253 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, I'm looking at the latest from the local news. The engineers put out another statement. They were saying that, it doesn't matter what you do with the brakes if your axle's broken. I mean, that's exactly what happened. So that had nothing to do with his regulation as it pertained to brakes. And also, didn't his regulation have to do with like oil and not chemicals? Now that might be, like picking nits to you, but, or just cherry or whatever. But that is important because if you're going to sit here and invoke certain regulations, well, this regulation wouldn't be invoked in this situation. That's number one. Number two, who is saying these words? Pothole Pete. What position does he have? Transportation Secretary. What power does the Transportation Secretary have? They have the ability to roll these back and work with Congress. Apparently, he didn't think it was important enough to do a damn thing about it. He was too busy taking months, plural, months, 5 times the amount that an average dude gets when he leaves to care for his newborn. And these are babies that Poot didn't even have and wasn't even around 9 months for. So he was MIA. And according to all the FOIA requests, refusing to even talk to lawmakers about important stuff, Democrats and Republicans. So he's going to sit here and try to shirk off any kind of culpability onto the previous administration. And then he had said that Trump said he had nothing to do with it. Trump was talking about the regulations. And again, if Pete was so upset about it, I mean, good grief, he is the transportation secretary. I mean, couldn't he have done something? Or, maybe, check out this. I just dropped this in. This just came from his thing. Holy wow. Can you just listen? I need you guys to listen to this audio soundbite. This is just rich.
Both information and misinformation injected into this situation, none of which is to the benefit of the community when it comes to that misinformation. So I lost my train of thought.
Oh my gosh. Do 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 do. Oh my gosh. He lost his train of thought. I can't, guys. Man, I just can't. Oh. So, Need a moment. That was a lot. But his soundbite, again, back to that soundbite was, that's him desperately trying to pass the buck. He reversed the deregulation. That had nothing to do with us. This was a broken axle. You couldn't even ask Pete to, I double dog dare someone to drag him over to a train and be like, show us the axle. You know he can't do it. He's going to have his comms lady run out there and do his job for him. That's what he'll do. I just don't, man. And see, here's the thing. They know that reporters don't know this stuff. They don't know like what questions to ask. They don't, not everybody knows train stuff. You can't sit here and predict what's going to be in the news. And then if someone's not an expert on something like that, I mean, this is, train mechanics. And apparently there are a lot of people who work on the railroad that listen to this program. Because you guys were like screaming, Axel. And it's true, because that's what this was. Play this other one, because he's talking about, this is so goofy. This is a dumb soundbite. This is dumb from him. He's just dancing here.
The country should be wrapping their arms around the people of East Palestine, not as a political football, not as an ideological flashpoint, not as a gotcha moment, but as thousands of human beings whose lives got upended through no fault of their own. And I think that includes visits, not just big official visits from the government, but just people who've seen the news and whose hearts go out to the community here and can come here on a day like this when the sun is shining or on a rainy day and shop in those shops and visit those businesses. It is safe to visit here, as all of us can attest, even while we're still making sure that it stays safe to live here.
He's just not good. He's like the annoying dude whose parents told him that he was great when he wasn't. Don't tell your kids that they've done something great when they haven't, because then you get this guy. Like, if your kid sucks at something, you got to tell them, you just suck at this. It's not being mean. It's so that they don't turn up and then one day be in the Department of Transportation and make everything worse because they can't do their job because they had an inflated sense of ego due to their bad parenting. Don't do that. Be like, look, Pete, you really don't have any marketable skills. So you need to go find something to do to where you can be valuable. I don't know. Figure something out.